Good afternoon, Sadie, Margaret, and Marie. Love my earrings. Yeah, I love them too. I got it by a place on Federal Street. I'm not going to tell all you yet because I want to go and buy what all they have first. But it's a design I understand from Tobago. She makes her earrings in leather. So this is leather. So I'm going to get some more. Yeah, and then I'll find out exactly who she is and I will let you all know. Just like my hat lady, I haven't bought hats in a while, but my hats were done by on Charlotte Street, Caps Galore. If you're walking up in a northerly direction, it is just before Duke Street corner on your left hand side. If you're walking in a southerly direction down Frederick Charlotte Street, it is on your right hand side also just after Duke Street corner. So yeah, I haven't bought a hat in a while, but I will definitely start back. Hi Caroline, and hi to all those who would tune in and log on to listen to what I have to say. I love you all so much for always being a part of this Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I suddenly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I'll honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, my elders, and all those in authority. I'll be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. And I'll strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country. Hi Val, you're on the road. Just make sure you're safe. Watch the road, darling. Listen, don't look. Right? Hi Miss Gloria. Hi Cynthia. So, I'm seeing that on Friday. Hi Joyceman. I'm seeing on Friday that the House of Representatives to meet this Friday. The first two bills to be introduced: one, the Children Life Fund Amendment Bill; two, bill to repeal the TTRA, and the House will also consider one, appointment of Alyssa Guevara as new police commissioner, and two, appointment of Wayne Meister as deputy police commissioner. Excuse me. So that's on Friday. Hi Emmeline. Hi Hadara. I'm seeing that we have gotten through into the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. That's Trinidad and Tobago, our soccer warriors. So they are into the qualifiers of FIFA World Cup, and they would have played a game away after the 6-2, I think, victory in Trinidad. They would have played a game away, and I think they lost 2-0, if I'm not mistaken. But that did not affect their goal difference and points and all that. So we are in, people. Give them a big shout out. So the journey continues. So this has 6 games. Now we are 6 games away from the biggest stage in the World Cup. 1 goal 2026. The draw is June 12th. Let's find out who stands in our way, and the final phase is here. Everything is on the line, so let us give them our prayer. Everything, we foot, we hand, everything. We want to enjoy that World Cup. We want to be a part of that this year with our new coach, Dwight York, who, you know, is the football celebrity, having played in England with Manchester United. And oh God, what was the coach name at that time, boy? Oh God, everybody knew him, the kind of white. I can't remember the name right now. Yeah, but all you know how it was. So it continues. So I'm seeing that the Secretary of Finance from Tobago, she seems to be in love with this government. So let us hear what she's saying. I just hope that next 6 months she will still be feeling the same thing. So let's hear a little of what she had to say. So this was 1 day ago in CCM. Hi Denise. Hi Alison. And this is what she had to say. Let me listen now. Sometimes I'm just tired, really. Come on, really dragging me down. I don't know. No, we're not on to no. Skip the ad, right.
The minister in his, preliminary conversation started with a caveat of the government's position. It is not very good. I don't want to get into too much details. I think the minister's responsibility to bring that to the country, but basically gave a general overview of where we are at as a government. And it is in that context where I I had to pull back the request because really and truly what we were requesting is the difference between 4.35% and the minimum that we are asking for now going forward of 5.1%. And that would bring us to about $448 million.
Mrs. Petalan Roberts spoke on Monday on a Tobago morning show. She said there are funding gaps to be filled by the Tobago House of Assembly.
We did make a request, and they did say they will try their best to accede to that request to see how best we can, just close that funding gap for this fiscal year. So far, we have transferred monies from recurrent to DP in the amount of $120 million. As I said, the recurrent expenses, the development program is grossly underfunded. So every year we make those shifts. So we have 44 priority projects, 38 development projects, and we have so far shifted $120 million from recurrent to development program.
Discussions with the finance minister also featured around property tax, the ability to borrow, an IDB loan of US $64 million taken by the previous administration, and there was also a meeting with Planning Minister Kennedy Saratsing. She feels confident under this government, Tobago would get what Tobago wants.
I feel more confident than ever before. I've not only met in these conversations as Secretary of Finance, but as a technocrat. I've been in the room with over London when he was Chief Secretary, the former Secretary of Finance, Joel Jack. And this is this meeting to me, the mutual respect and the attitude to seek Tobago's interests. I felt that more than ever before. I am hopeful that it would materialize into something positive for Tobago. The minister said he did get instructions from the Prime Minister to ensure that Tobago's need are met and hear us out, hear what our needs are. And one of the critical matters I brought to his attention is the overdraft facility that we have to incur because we get these releases so late.
Last June, the THA presented a $3.956 billion budget. Last September, the THA received $2.599 billion. Elizabeth Williams, TV6 News.
What is instructive to me? They're so nice and quiet under the UNC, and they think that this government is very receptive and they ask some more, but they have to pull back, because they ain't getting it, because they would have told us, I paraphrase it, would have told us the state of the economy and it is bad. So the money that we really wanted, we have to pull back and it's okay. But when last year, all let's ask some money, whoever, and all they get a little less, all that cost, all that carry, all kind of thing. The government wasn't accommodating, but this UNC government accommodating. Miss Petal, darling, I go check you back for next 2-3 months, and we go hear what you have to say. All the good deceitful, yes? It's only under the PNM, all this amount of cost. Under UNC, all the stake, all the tail, pay between all the leg, and put all the hand on the lip and just say, let me continue. But my darling, she look pretty, and the hair all done and everything. Check me back next 6 months, or next 5 months, or 4 months, by the end of the year, whatever, hope you're singing a different tune. Because this government have a history, eh? Oh, yeah. So I am seeing, excuse me, I am seeing that there's things in the works for a new commissioner of police. Well, I never hear the man name, eh? You quite really get all up in the police business and thing, eh, Papa? And it is, hi Judy, hi Sharon. Hi Cynthia, Jen, deceitful, you understand, they're not easy enough. So what is stupidness is this is I'm not a robot and I'm not signing nothing, I'm doing it just so. So this was on Facebook, CNC3, so the Guardian, and this was June 11, 2025. The Public Service Commission has nominated Alyssa Govero to be appointed as Commissioner of Police and Wayne Meister to act as Deputy Commissioner. Right? This, according to the latest order paper of Parliament obtained by CNC3, the President issued official notification for Govero appointment on May 9, 2025. Meister notification to act as Deputy Commissioner was issued on June the 3rd. Both appointments require the approval of the House of Representatives. So that's why they're meeting on Friday to discuss this. Right? We ain't going into much that again. That them and the thing affair. I hope they work it out. I hope it ain't all the lily and bacchanal and tralala that does all this have. And if the process is smooth, it's not because of the works of the UNC. You know, I must say that part because there was a government there before, right? So I'm saying here that, let me go quickly, just a minute, so there's something to do with works and works and infrastructure. Well, you know the rain has started and they are flooding and whatever, but everybody quiet. It's not the PNM fault again, and this has nothing. They ain't cussing PNM again to say PNM caused the thing. They ain't even cussing UNC. They're just accepting the fact that it's flooding, you know. You think it easy? So again, this is in Guardian, from CNC3 Guardian, and this is the 10th of June, and it says here, Works and Infrastructure Minister Julie John has described the widespread practice of dumping in watercourses in national emergency. Really? And people were complaining about that. It was no national emergency. It was like, well. Speaking of Guardian Media on Tuesday during a tour of outfall drains in her Couva North constituency, the minister stressed the urgent need for maintenance works ahead of the rainy season. Well, it's here. Minister John noted that the government may need to introduce more public education campaigns to discourage citizens from becoming litterbugs. She highlighted pollution as a major contributor to flooding across the country. I wouldn't be surprised if they already have a company to do all that already. You know how the thing does be, right? To just come with that dress up. Hey, remember the Charlie song? Chase Charlie away today and something, when we were children growing up. Yeah. And all of us used to be singing that song. But it used to help us with littering because we never used to litter. We used to make sure if we see somebody big throw paper, we said, no, don't be a Charlie, put it in the bin. We used to do them things. I don't know what told you, but we used to do that. I went to school with Brook Secondary and Tranquil Primary as a child, so this is that town thing. I don't know what happened in other places. In Port of Spain recently, we had a video. Big drums, wardrobes, stoves, and clothing, etc. In addition, we have all the bottles, the plastic bottles strewn everywhere, she said. Referring to recent cleanup efforts, Minister John noted that the Randy Cater Bridge in her constituency had been recently cleared. I'm hoping that people will be civic-minded and respond and be responsible not to dump it. It is a national emergency with people dumping because it ends up in the water courses and the sea, and we have all this pollution, she added. I see she didn't mention bamboo and flag and all them kind of thing would just come down. She didn't mention that part of it, but you know it is. So they're planning something to treat with being responsible for littering. And they talk about Port of Spain. Now she living in Couva. Her constituency in Couva, but she let me know in Port of Spain. Because where Port of Spain is, where it's a largely developed area with people of African descent, so it's two all kind of thing. But it went down south and those areas and see the bamboo and the this and that all up in Cora and all them. Okay. So you see what those cute things that? We like it so because all they had opportunity, April the 20th, for good governance, continuity. All they like bacchanal, culture and confusion apparently. So I am seeing here. All I remember the bacchanal. Hi Delano. I remember. Just recently Canopus and the sister come out and all she thing and people say, yes, that she's strong, man. To start to tell Venezuela. Don't play a drum bean way, you know. If we catch you in the waters, you go da 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 da. And I want people to understand, Mrs. Canopus happy sister don't want nothing to lose, you know. She don't mind making headlines any way she could, you know, so she will say any kind of thing. So when we get caught up in she rhetoric and she's stupidness and bawling, yes, you didn't think she should defend the country, all they do this, all who talking that. God forbid back and all thing out, you can't get them to go to stand up, nowhere to do nothing. When them see we're coming, them ain't coming out to do nothing. All that kind of stupid talk. People like to talk big and when they see things, they go, God, and they go. All of them get chained up. I see plenty of people get chained up already and end up in real foolishness. Don't get chained up. And this conversation, where America will come and help you, I will read something that Henry Kissinger would have said. You don't get up in that. Don't get up in America go running. What we have for that America's so interested in? Oh, a base close to that. Okay, let's say them they come here and they had a base there for okay, and then Russia say, okay, let me come down Venezuela and I having a landing thing there too. And then you had the two parties right there, 6 miles away, right there. And then you let it take, who go be in the middle? All they get caught up. All they get caught up. All they never experience war, so they don't experience war. Hey, go down, take a trip and go down to Ukraine. Go down in them areas with a war going on all over Palestine and the Gaza and the this and that. Go down there. And then when they spend a couple of days and come back here and tell me if they're interested in war. So again, 10th of June, CNC trees, I guess I got not this. Will this open back up? I'm not on this. I don't know that. Just a minute, or give me a minute. Hi, Maria. So, Oh God, I hate when them let's try everybody trying to hug up a young person. Oh God, they just don't have it. Oh, they don't have it. Oh, the thing now, this kind of always have to show they hug up somebody. Oh gosh, be original now. So this now, I've got this from. Let me see. Come on, I'm gonna find this thing. Wait, where do you think go? That's now. Take a listen over from Venezuela authorities. So, I see this from resource page, Papa. I'm not later. That's not what I'm the volume.
Incursion into their territory.
Provided with the particulars. But at this juncture, we've not been provided with anything.
But while the Foreign Affairs Minister stands ready to send yet another diplomatic note to Venezuela's ambassador, Alvaro Sanchez Cordero, on Wednesday morning, if no response is received by Tuesday, international relations specialist Mawali Henry believes TNT's position is being guided by America's foreign policy.
I would suggest to you, Jason, I believe that in the short period of this current administration, you'll see over 13 engagement by the U.S. Embassy with many ministry officials, and maybe Caracas sees this a little too close for comfort. Or I think there are too many strong winds that are blowing in our Western Hemisphere that is causing this administration to take a certain posture.
He's also warning that the diplomatic row can fuel tensions between TNT nationals and Venezuela.
We have to be very careful from a pragmatic stance that this is not just an external threat posture of using it to use deadly force on the seas, but we have Venezuelans who live amongst us, who are part of our community legally or not. And it would not be wise for us to create or add to that tension, because that tension can occur domestically for us.
Meanwhile, former foreign affairs ministers are welcoming what they see as a return to diplomacy between the Twin Island Republic and its South American neighbor.
I think it was just an expression of words that was taken out of any actual context of deeds. But I do agree that the rules of international law and convention should be upheld.
CNC3 News understands that Trinidad and Tobago authorities are now working to determine exactly how many of its nationals are currently being held in Venezuela, amid reports that a few more persons may have been detained in connection with the ongoing issue. Sources have confirmed that with the change in government following the April 28th general election, former Ambassador Edmund Dillon has returned to Port of Spain. However, staff remain on the ground at the embassy in Caracas. Those close to the matter say they are hoping for a swift and peaceful resolution, noting that the current back and forth between both sides is doing little to advance the situation.
Right? So all who talking, oh, we like how she come out strong and think, let me tell you, there's something, these things is not simple things on America running, as I say again. Why would you want America to come on we soil and set up any base? I just asking a question. When them in conflict already with Venezuela. Now Venezuela have people who don't support them. It have Russia and think, Putin now see, I just saying it, this ain't happen, I just say it. Putin see America running and set up thing, and next time Putin say he's setting up a base down here in Venezuela because it ain't looking because Putin and them have interest in Venezuela. Looking thing, and then America here, we here, and then across the Russia, Venezuela, and then people jumpy, you know, sugar happy, and some little incident they take, you know, something, and then bam, we need brothers, and bam, drone, thing, all ready for all them kind of trippers. And as the man just said, we have Venezuela living among us. We know if any of them can jump in Venezuela, understand. Since them small, them training army and thing, you know. They're not like we know. They didn't say they love Venezuela, you know. When they come to defend Venezuela, you don't. So the best thing is to talk about. So the Prime Minister started off again in this strong arm thing, and all who support and shit, all they really don't understand how the thing does go. All the drink, all the tea, cool it down a little bit, let common sense prevail, and do not further incite the Prime Minister to be talking all kind of crazy thing, right? Okay, because this thing has serious consequences. So, let me leave that there for now, Papa. Let good sense prevail, let diplomacy prevail. Let me read something what Henry Kissinger said. If all they feel America is people, hear what Henry Kissinger said. America has no permanent friends or enemies, only interests. And another one he said, it may be dangerous to be America's enemy, but to be America's friend is fatal. All right, hear that? It is dangerous to be America's enemy, but to be America's friend is fatal. All right, fatal? All right, get that? And America don't have friends. They don't have permanent friends. All they have is interest. If they have no interest in you, they may come in here and you want to be friends with them? Them don't have friend and thing. Huh? Okay. So that's just a word to the wise to all who hyping up themselves about this thing about it. Yeah, she talks strong. All kind of stupid thing when they drink, you know, talk, all kind of thing, you know. When people drink, they just get a bravado. Who was quiet, you start to talk, thing, and all kind of big talk, and you go so boom, and they just fall along, you know, because you know what, they're drunk, they're unsteady, and they ain't thinking clear. So be careful, be careful. So, let me go and continue because I have things to say. The central bank, you all remember there was conversation that the former Minister of Finance, excuse me, was responsible for missing money, $2.6 billion, and I felt like the PNM didn't do a good job to explain the whole thing, because ain't no way the Minister of Finance can get involved in thieving no money without public officers know, because he don't treat with those things. There's a whole department, budgetary department, they that see about doing the budget and everything, and all the other areas that are responsible for collecting and giving the report, and those reports are sent to the Auditor General. So in a way, no minister could just take $2.6 billion and other people not complicit in it. And who will be people? It will be public officers. And let me tell you something. Public officers, They know we just get hold for all kind of, them ain't getting themselves involved in that because they know that is jail and never come out kind of thing. So them ain't going to do that. So right. And then I had the situation which I want to Ramdas, and I keep saying again, coming from a Labour perspective, that when I heard the information, it all suggested and everybody agreed, except in the UNC, that it was an accounting error. An accounting error is not thief. It happens in bigger countries than ours. Excuse me. And it was said that that error occurred because of a new accounting system or checking system at the central bank. And when the senior public officers, when they would have recognized this understatement in the Auditor General's first report, they tried to alert her, they weren't getting in contact with her, and they reached out to the Minister of Finance. The only thing I said he did wrong is to contact the Auditor General. He should not have done that. But I guess he wanted to settle the matter, but you see how that ended up. He should have let the public officers and them try until whenever. Once he stepped in that, it takes another direction, right? So that was the only fault I saw that he would have made, the error he would have made is getting in contact with the Auditor General in order to let her know, listen, this is happening, whatever happening. Everything went downhill from there. So, what is this? So I'm now seeing the central bank is saying, hi Angela, hi Jackie, hi Merle. So this is Guardian, and it's loading. Yesterday, central bank stops audits by Auditor General. The central bank accounts are no longer being audited by the Auditor General. The fact was disclosed by the central bank on Friday in response to a request for information from the financial regulator and the government's banker to comments by Prime Minister Kamala Prasad last Thursday. She said that for the second year, the central bank did not cooperate with the Auditor General request for information. The Prime Minister said the central bank governor refuses to divulge information. This is the same central bank governor who on 2 occasions with 2 successive Auditor General reports failed to provide information to the Auditor General. Remember last year when we had the 2.3 billion missing? It was because the central bank did not release information or allow the Auditor General to get the accounts to do our work. Or you want me to read that again? Excuse me. After we had a whole year last year, everybody ball coming, but thief the money. He thief the money. He thief the money. He thief the money. He thief the money. Hear what the Prime Minister today, Kamala Prasad, is saying. Remember last year when we had the 2.3 billion missing? It was because the central bank did not release information or allow the Auditor General to get the accounts to do her work. So it's no longer common bird. So they get what they wanted. The whole country was bawling, thief the money, PNM corruption, thief the money. Oh God, they should jail him and all that. You hear what they say? No, it had nothing to do with common bird, you know. That is still what they say. They say it's because the central bank, the same central bank, where the senior public officers stole them is because of a new checking system, while the understatement of 2.3 billion or 2.6 billion was not recorded. Or they play with them, or they just allow these people to get in all their head, and because of all their feelings, or they just act the fool. So let me continue. It has happened again. The Auditor General report, which will be laid shortly in the Parliament, it has happened again. In response to queries from Guardian Media, the central bank said the Auditor General no longer functions as the external auditor for the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. The bank nonetheless considers the Office of the Auditor General to be an important institution in contributing to transparency and good governance of the fiscal accounts. The central bank remains willing to provide any information to the Auditor General related to any specific discrepancy in the fiscal account. Question on Friday about when and why the Auditor General stopped being the external auditor of the central bank, the bank responded on Sunday night. DBO TNT is the external auditor of the central bank from the financial year beginning October the 1st, 2023. There was no response to the questions of why the Auditor General no longer functioned as the bank external auditor. The Auditor General audited the central bank's accounts for the last 14 years up to 2023. Okay. No longer is member thief no money. Now is the central bank who refused to let the Auditor General come in and do the work. Now the central bank is saying since 2023, the Auditor General don't come and audit our accounts, darling. We have external auditors. So Kamala and them all the time in opposition ain't know that, right? All they get tired and all they blame this government and the thief all kind of thing on the thing. Okay. All right, man. So I'm saying, they're saying that family services is not being disbanded because I see that was a concern to some people. So they came out with a statement that's saying that the family services. Okay, let me read this next one here. This juicy thing I'm going to Auditor General. I have another story. Let me read it quick. Because Jaiwanti was a star just last year, you know, right? She was a hero, she was a financial hero of this country, you know, to stop the PNM and commonwealth from thieving the money, you know. So this was 11 hours ago in the Guardian. It says, Auditor General declined to audit Central Bank. The Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago yesterday did not stop the Auditor General from auditing the accounts of the country's financial regulator. Responding to Guardian media question, the Central Bank said it was the Office of the Auditor General who opted not to accept the assignment to audit the Central Bank accounts. Asked why did the Central Bank end the long-standing relationship by which the Auditor General audited the bank's accounts, Central Bank said the Office of the Auditor General indicated that it would not be in a position to accept an appointment as auditor for the financial statements of the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago for the year ending 30th September 2024. You see why it ended? Because based on what the Central Bank is saying here, they said that the Auditor General said they wouldn't be able to audit the books at all. And if they didn't have nobody to audit, they had to get external people. You see, we didn't have all this information. It's not clicking and making sense to show that probably all that in the Auditor General, in my opinion, could have been. Okay. Asked whether the decision to end the relationship with the Auditor General's department was linked to the Auditor General request for information on the missing revenue. Yes, the Central Bank referred its response to its first question. The Central Bank said on Sunday that, I read that already, but this is the next report, that BDO, the TNT, replaced the Auditor General as the external auditor of the bank for the financial year beginning October 1st, 2023, and BDO TNT initial engagement would have ended on September 30th, 2024. The Central Bank Act at Section 56(1) states that its accounts shall be audited annually by auditors who shall be appointed by the board each year with the approval of the Minister of Finance. So, the Central Bank, based on the Act, they could have their external auditors if they want, and once it is approved by the Minister of Finance. So let's see how the thing going. Yeah? But all they just get caught up in all their feelings and go and do all the wrong things. After the Central Bank have paid to have the Auditor General's Department conduct the audits of its account, the Central Bank responded, the Central Bank does not pay for that service. The Central Bank declined to provide a ballpark figure for the cost of the BDO to audit its account. The bank said the appointment of the BDO was made following the Central Bank's procurement procedures. Although the Central Bank Act does not specify that the central bank accounts must be audited by the Auditor General. At section 56(2), the law states, notwithstanding subsection 1, the Minister of Finance may at any time require the Auditor General to examine and report on the accounts of the bank, and the bank shall provide the Auditor General with all necessary and appropriate facilities for such examinations. The current Minister of Finance, Vintranath Tanko, has not triggered section 52(2) of the central bank said. He mustn't even know that exists. At last Thursday's post-cabinet news conference, Prime Minister Kamala Prasad accused Central Bank Governor Dr. Alvin Hilaire of refusing to divulge the information to the government. The Central Bank Governor refuses to divulge information. This is the same Central Bank Governor who on 2 occasions, with 2 successive Auditor General reports, had failed to provide information to the Auditor General. So remember last year when we had the, I'm reading that again, 2.3 billion missing? It was because the central bank did not release information or allow the Auditor General to get the accounts to do her work. It has happened again. The central bank has not as yet posted its 2024 accounts on the website. This is because the central bank traditionally awaits ministerial laying of the report before Parliament prior to website publication, the bank said. 8 questions were sent to Auditor General Jayawanti Ramdas yesterday through one of our attorneys. There was no response for up to press time. Wait after she the response. I've always said in my opinion that Jayawanti Ramdas, the Auditor General of Trinidad and Tobago, failed in doing her duty as outlined by the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago. That is my opinion. You see Bacchanal they cause? You see Bacchanal she cause? In my opinion, you see Bacchanal? Okay. So this is the function of the Auditor General. The Auditor General of Trinidad and Tobago is a constitutional office mandated to ensure transparency and accountability in the use of public funds and resources. Their primary function is to audit and report on the public accounts of the nation, including those of government ministries, departments, and state-owned controlled enterprises. The Auditor General also conducts audits of projects funded by international lending agencies and other statutory bodies. Auditing public accounts and financial audits. The Auditor General conducts financial audits to verify the accuracy and completeness of financial statements and transactions of government entities. These audits go beyond financial accuracy to assess whether public money had been used efficiently or effectively and efficiently, ensuring value for money for taxpayers. The Auditor General may conduct special audits to investigate specific issues or concerns such as fraud or waste. Auditor General audits a wide range of entities, including, again, government ministries and departments, projects funded by international lending agencies, statutory boards, the Tobago House of Assembly, state-controlled enterprises, municipal corporations, regional health authorities. The Auditor General audits are guided by various legal mandates, including the Exchequer and Audit Act, which mandates audits of ministries and departments, constitutional provisions which require annual audits of the public accounts, statutory provisions for specific bodies which may designate the AG, well, I say AG, not Attorney General, but Auditor General, as their auditor. The Auditor General prepares annual reports summarizing their findings and recommendations and submits them to Parliament. These reports are made available to the public to ensure transparency and accountability. The Public Accounts Committee, a parliamentary committee, examines the Auditor General's report and holds government entities accountable for their findings. The Auditor General reports helps to ensure that government entities are held accountable for their financial management and the use of public funds. The Auditor General audits are a crucial tool for enhancing public accountability and promoting good governance. So that is how important the work of the Auditor General Department and the Auditor General is. I'm seeing here that You remember the comments that were made by former Member of Parliament, Dr. Nayan Gaspi, who would have said that she had a pile, I'm paraphrasing people, a pile of data on her desk that showed that is the children were behaving badly in school, fighting and all that. The grandparents are spilling, the father is spilling, the mother is spilling. So she said. Well, we had another incident at Couva Holy Faith Convent, where when I was reading, it says that girls from Couva Secondary or whatever school, something to do with somebody calling who ugly on Facebook and whatever on social media. And apparently they mistake the girl who they end up grabbing is not the girl, but apparently they take off their school uniform, so they plan this thing and people, they take off their school uniform, they remain in the tights and the vest and whatever, and while whoever 2 or 3 go on to talk to the guard, you don't know if the guard get caught up in them snatch a child walking out, Holy Convent, Couva, and they beat that child mercilessly. I think it may have taken who adults standing there by surprise because it was a late start to get to help this child. They dragged this child by she hair, they kick she hair, they cough she, they kick she, they whatever. And I don't want to show it, I just don't want that image in my head. So I'm going to say this. This is one time I would agree with Kamala Prasad Sessa, and that is lock them up. But I'm also saying at the same side, my opinion, Kamala Prasad Sessa is responsible for what we see in schools now. Because she's the one to call corporal punishment from school, never replace it with anything. She's the one say education for all, everybody pass the common entrance, whether they could read, they could write, whatever, all pass. And then her government will close youth camps. They close John Delancey. So she also has a part to play in how this thing turns out. And it's a fallacy to believe that this fighting and getting on only happen in the school where traditionally African trainers and them things that's happening in prestige school and them, you know, but them let's deal with it different. Or remember the little Indian boy who was saying he hate N and kill all N and all kind of thing he said. He went to St. Stephen College, was a little Indian boy. You all remember the unfortunate death of the child who committed suicide because of bullying. It was an African people child. But in those schools, apparently, whatever they have, whatever issues they have, they deal with it a different way. And it may not come out in the open. But you know, anything with African people and the children, or whatever, is always out there. I am not condoning. So, there are people that are saying, you can't blame the children, you can't blame the parents, excuse me. You can't blame the parents for the children thing because you don't make the children mind. I totally reject that. Of course you don't make them mind, but when a child is born, there's a school that taught it. A child is born like a blank slate. And it's the environment, whether in the home or the community, or in school or wherever, but it's home first because baby ain't going to school. The child learns because a child learns by mirroring and imitating what they see. And if certain things are not explained to them properly, they interpret it in their way. So if there's violence in the home, that is their barometer to how they treat and deal with issues when they and somebody fall out. Fight, cuss, get on, stamp on the ground, throw themselves down, all kind of thing, right? They learn that from home. You learn that from no school, nobody. You learn it from your caregivers. So if it is learned by mirroring and imitating what they see in the space, then when they go out and they're fighting, cussing and getting on, then you have to check the home to see what's happening there. And a child under the age of 18 is in the care of a guardian, the parents, or caregiver. They are responsible for them. Unless the child is a child of the state that the parents give them up, put them in the orphanage, that is a government child. Or the child has some type of disability, or the parent themselves has some type of disability, whether mental or whatever. In the absence of all that, the parents is solely responsible for the child under the age of 18. And if some other parents refuse to check all their children bad, Go down in the school, you mightn't be able to go PTA meeting. Go in the school, talk to the teachers, miss how she going, how we going. The teachers will tell you, you reach down there, you're scared with Jesus out of them because you go down there with your curlers in your hair and your rubber slippers on your foot. They will come back in school again after that because they know my mother mad knows. My mother go come down here and she curlers and she had a duster coat and something and embarrass me, so they behave in this. You have to learn to use all kind of tactics. Those things are not abusive. It is just to let them know, we're not having that. Go talk to the teacher, go talk to somebody, and even unannounced, go and meet them and walk home with them if it's a short distance or travel home with them. Or stake them out. Go down and watch the movement, and even though you watch it, you have to do these things. If you just leave everything to the teacher and the school, that's why they started in the ball, and I didn't know. You have to know. You might know 100%, but you know enough to be able to say, nah, my child, It had to be something else. Let me hear from Shion. Let me hear from you first. If you are there, scaffolding your child, meaning that you support it, and you're there in your child's life in the right way, and you're communicating in the way, I'm not saying it will be perfect, but you will have a better handle on things. So I am saying, Mrs. Kamala Pesadi would have started this train when she take away corporal punishments in the schools. Once the train where you can't lash them, and parents can't lash them because they are right, they're letting you know you can't lash me. The school became helpless. Now, provided there was some abuse may have been going on because human beings, but that could have been regulated. And if you take away corporal punishment, you needed to put something else in place. Not take away post-primary and youth camp and this, that, everything, and just send everybody to a secondary school. And they can't read, they can't write, they're autistic, they're this, they're that, trying to fit in the system. They go have chaos, right? So they need to do something, and I wait to see what they will do. But I want to tell people, if they are aware that in Trinidad and Tobago, it's not as if they have to reinvent the wheel. In Trinidad and Tobago, we have 2 children courts. And that is due to the vision and the hard work and stuff of the Chief Justice Ivor Archie. We have one located on Elizabeth Street in Porterville. That is by the Oval, and there's another one in Faizabad, 2 children courts. What does the children court do? Let me tell you a little about them. The children court is a court for children, anyone under the age of 18. The court became operational on February 20th, 2018, and hears cases involving children who are accused of breaking the law. Children in need of supervision, and children who are in need of care and protection. The Children's Court also hears children drug and mental health matters. These types of matters filed at the Children's Courts include Children Authority applications. So the Children Authority of Trinidad and Tobago can make several applications pursuant to its duty as guardian of the children of Trinidad and Tobago under the Children's Authority Act, Chapter 4810, and the suite of children's legislation. Some of these include application for wardship, application for interim supervision orders, care orders, and recovery orders. There is a criminal action that is initiated by a private citizen rather than a police officer. This complaint is against another person he or she suspects or believes is guilty of a crime and presents an accusation before the proper authorities for investigation. It also includes application involving protection orders. All this has to do with the children court. Children in need of supervision and applications of Section 50A of the Children Act 2012 amended, where a parent or guardian or person responsible for a child alleges that he is unable to control the child, he may apply to the court for an order deeming the child to be a child in need of supervision. So it is there. There's no need to reinvent. So if those little girls there who are fighting and they find them, they're under 18, and the parents are fed up, talk to them, and not able, they can apply to the children court, and the children court will deal with them. But apparently, like, people don't know. Why are these things not being broadcast? You have criminal indictable matters. These matters are more serious category of criminal offenses. There are two stages in indictable trials. Firstly, a preliminary inquiry or committal proceeding in the children's court before a master must be conducted, and the master comes like the judge in the court. The master determines if the prosecution can establish a prima facie case against the accused, and the accused is the child under 18. If the master has determined that there is a prima facie case against the accused, the Director of Public Prosecution, the DPP, has to file an indictment, and a date will be set for the trial to be commenced before a judge at the children's court. You see how serious this is? So come up with all this and then we have to talk about, we're going to lock them up and things. The court is there already established. The court is there. Your child are not getting on and not behaving and out of hand, whatever. You can go and apply to the court for order, and they will take that child to court, and if that child has to be removed and put in a children home or whatever, it will happen. If it's criminal matters, the DPP will get a file report, get it and send it back, and there's a judge in the children court will treat with the matter that criminal offense. So there's no reinventing the wheels. I don't know why people hyping themselves. I know God think the children court is there. They just have to use the children court. Criminal summary matters. These matters are usually contained in the Summary Offences Act, Chapter 1102. They are less serious criminal offenses in which the penalties that can be imposed are not set as great as indictable offenses. Summary offenses are proceeded with summarily, that is, tried in the children court by the master. The children court listens to what children have to say. Children who come before the court must participate in the intake conference. Through this process, a representative from the court will speak with the child to find out more about him or her and what causes him or her to end up before the court. The children court can appoint a children's authority, will appoint a children's authority, or no, a children's attorney, who will ensure that the voice of the child is heard throughout the case. The children court helps children to hold them accountable for offenses committed. As a problem-solving court, the children court provides targeted intervention to address the needs of children in conflict with the law and children who are in need of supervision. Through custodial sentencing options, though custodial sentencing options are utilized by the court, intervention can also be provided through several non-custodial sentencing options that supports the rehabilitation and reintegration of child offenders and CHINS back into society. Among the non-custodial sentences available at the children court are individual counseling, family counseling, parent counseling, court annexed peer resolution, children drug treatment court processes, the life lesson programs, Imani Healing Circle, A Girl Like Me, A Girl Circle. So all these things are there, and I want to tell you all, I have been privy to be a peer, oh gosh, I ain't going to tell you peer what, but I did a program at the children's court. We were trained, so I saw the workings of the children's court. So I'll give you a quick example. So this will be a minor offense. So a child took their father's car, and while joyriding, end up in an accident that it run into the neighbor wall or somebody wall, and the wall fall down, right? Well, the police have to get involved in that. Excuse me, but the child is under 18. So that was not going to go to the criminal court with adults. That's why the CJ came up with the children's court. I think we're the only country in the Caribbean that has two children's court, so that the children don't have to mix with hardened criminal and all that. So they go to court, reports are made, police is there, everything. It is a serious court, it's not no joke thing. However, what the difference is pairs, is the children pairs, so we will have under 18, I think from about 12 to 17 around there, they are the ones who will be listening. So the child who committed that offense there is a judge or a master's in the court. Everything is done very formal. It's not a joke. If the child has to present, the child will stand up and the peers will ask them questions. Why did you do that? How do you feel when you do that? And all those things will be taken into account. And sometimes the victim is there and the child will have to speak to the victim, whether whatever the case may be. Coming out of that, though the peers will decide between them, they will come up with, listen, for 3 months, this person will have to go and clean Miss Mary's yard so Miss Mary accustomed paying the caregiver what $200 whatever, the child will be cleaning that instead, save Miss Mary the money. That is a part of the work program. And things like that. So the child is actively involved in the reconstruction and the rehabilitative matter. But there are more serious criminal charges that goes to another level. So I'm just saying all these things to say that there's no need to reinvent the wheel. We could use what we have and treat with the matters that we have. That is basically it. So let me continue. So, remember when they were talking about boot camps? I think it was Mr. Manning was speaking about boot camps and all that. Oh God, the country started to get on, oh, you can't in prison, and you carry them for so late to beat them up, and you carry them for them. All remember those conversations? Then we had my part, which was kind of military led, the same thing. Those who were doing fantastic work, and what is happening with that now? So again, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Let us have what we have here, and let us build on what we have here. Yeah? That's just my thing. So let me continue. There's something called fork tongue. So I'm just looking at it because I like to look at these things and read it. So it says here, fork tongue. An idiom meaning to speak deceptively or hypocritically, to say one thing but mean another. It originates from the split tongue of the snake, which they use to sense the environment that has been applied metaphorically to human speech. The forked tongue of a snake is a physical characteristic used for smelling by picking up sense particles in the air. The phrase speaks with a forked tongue is used to describe someone who is lying or is deceitful, or who expresses one thing but means something else. The idiom has a history in Native American culture where it signifies a person who is not trustworthy due to their deception. And examples, a person who makes promises but doesn't keep them, or someone who says one thing to your face and then another behind your back, can be described as speaking with a forked tongue. Yeah? Excuse me. You all remember this person? That is Felicia Thomas. At the time, she wasn't the president of PSA, she was the first vice president of PSA. The president of PSA was Leroy Baptiste, who is now the Minister of Labour. And before the PSA election of 2025, it was March the 10th, I think it was, they were going around to different government ministries and telling workers, for want of a better word, vote for the UNC. The UNC will start negotiations at 10%. Because you remember, the previous government, the PLM government, would have offered a 4% increase for the period 2014 to 16 and 2017 to 19. And as I keep saying, and continue to say, when the government offered that, it's a negotiation. You as the union, on behalf of your members, because you are employer, you are employee of the members, because you work for the members, not the other way around. It doesn't make us feel as though they're doing us a favor, when in fact it's our contribution. Every man does pay their salary, so they work for us. How they know what we want? We have general counsel. Members of the general counsel are made up of members of the public service, and they have different sections. The section will say what the problem is, and that representative from the section will bring it to general counsel, so all sections are heard. So when they go out to negotiate, if a government, the CPO is our boss because of the fact we are public officers, so a government can be our employer directly. So we have the senior public officer, who is the CPO, who is in fact our boss. But the CPO boss is the Minister of Finance, right? So the CPO stands between the Minister of Finance and us, the workers, public officers. You have to go with information, data, and evidence, whether you carry economists and whatever. And you have to show, you see that 4% you're offering, you could offer more, and here's where you could get the money to offer more, or here's where you could get this, that, whatever it is. That's what happened in negotiation. No union has been able to show the then government how they could have gotten more than 4%. Because remember, we came through a recession 2015, and then we had COVID-19 right after. That would have done a hatchet job on the world's economy, not Trinidad and Tobago alone. But I also want to add to that, Watson Solomon Juke, who was the president all around 2019, would have come and made a video telling us, public officers, he got a percentage from the Minister of Finance, who is commendable, which that could happen because the Minister of Finance is featured in the Industrial Relations Act and the Civil Service Act, so there's nothing strange with that. And he said, and that was for the period 2014, 15, and 16. He said he's not going to open it now because it's around Christmas, so he will open it in 2020. He made another video in 2020 and said, yes, he had promised to tell us how much the percentage was, but he didn't tell me nothing, because at that time, remember, he was the minority leader in the THA. He formed a political party, so he wanted to be the employer. He wanted to be a part of the governance structure. So if you're a part of the governance structure, you cannot be sitting to negotiate for the employees. That is a conflict of interest. And then he didn't want to do anything to make the PNM look good, because he had his party, he wanted them to look good. So what he did, he didn't accept the money, the percentage. Then we went on to 2017, 18, 19. Those are the years of COVID-19 to 19, so the economy was down and all that, so we ended up in a shitty position, right? Other unions would have taken the 4%. I guess they just was fighting so that the members don't say, they just roll over. But deep in their heart, they knew they had to take the 4%. Or go industrial court and fight it out there. Our union chose to go industrial court. But when the industrial court, the special tribunal, was dealing with the matter for 6 years, in my opinion, the special tribunal would have erred, because it's 3 years at a time they were supposed to deal with. And if it's only 1 3-year period was before them, that now became a 5-year period, because once you go in the special tribunal, it's no longer 3 years, it becomes 5 years. So it became 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 5 years. However, they would have added another 5, and that would be for the period 17, well, it wouldn't be 17, 18, 19, but really 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. All the PSA would have done to make its members feel they're fighting is take that matter out of the court and go for judicial review. Taking section 22(1), I think it is, of the Civil Service Act, where it says that the special tribunal has the authority to make award before them not less than 5 years. So they wanted clarification on that. What came out of that they say they win, is that the court simply saying there's only 1 period before the special tribunal, so the 4% has to be for 1 5-year period, or if they were split it to whatever, but it's 1 5-year period before it. That's the only thing the PSA has won. And after that, everything remained in the industrial court. PSA never take on the matter because them start to fight election for the UNC, right? And before that, there was prime minister. I just give you a history of it so that when I read this, you'll understand where I'm coming from. So this young lady, who is now the president of PSA, is now telling us, this was in the Guardian 21 hours ago, PSA head, that is her, Felicia Thomas is her name. No wage offer likely until national budget. Why I want to stop here for a minute? We now heard the Secretary of Finance for Tobago saying she met with Tanko and all of them, and the state of the economy is bad. She said bad. And the money they was asking for, they can't even get that again, they will get less. It's bad, she said that. We heard Kamla Pasabi-Sessa saying that the economy is, I'm paraphrasing, it's bad too, God, it ain't nothing, right? Now, this girl is telling me, after she told public officers, when I was telling them, don't take ownership. All the vote for the UNC, we will start negotiation at no less than 10% starting point. Hear what she's saying now. As the government prepares to deliver its mid-year budget review on June the 18th, several trade unions are urging that the measures be people-centered and aimed at addressing long-standing issues affecting workers at vulnerable communities. Public Service Association President Felicia Thomas, who has openly supported the United National Congress and the Coalition of Interest, told Guardian Media that no meaningful progress on wage negotiations is expected before the national budget later this year. Thomas, who is scheduled to meet with Minister of Finance Ravindranath Thakur this week, confirmed that while negotiations will be discussed, no immediate offer is anticipated from the government. I have already contacted them on the mid-year review, Thomas said. I am scheduled to meet with the Minister of Finance this week, and in that meeting, of course, we will have the discussion of negotiation. However, she stressed that the government's current financial obligation may delay any settlement. I maintain that I do not anticipate anything in terms of negotiation while the government deals with its other commitments, she explained. In the interim, I don't expect any offer until the next budget, which is due around September or October. I ain't reading nothing else from Northern Union because it's she I really focus on. So that is why I put up in my daily dose of journey, I put up public officers get Ashton Kutcher, they get punked. Because that is not what Felicia Thomas and them was telling people when they're going around. They didn't tell me we have no delay and the government coming in, the UNC will have to look at the budget first and immediate. No, they said negotiations are going to start. But here the thing, the man who was propping she up because she's a dunce, Leroy Baptiste, he's not the Minister of Labour, he is an employer. He can't get himself involved in PSA business. Because he is the employer, he is in the governance structure of this country. So he cannot advise PSA. So this girl on she own. So he pulled himself out. He's a government minister. And by law he can't get involved in that. And she's a dunce. The first thing she's supposed to do is go and take our matter out of the industrial court. She hasn't done that. So it's resting right there in the industrial court, and that is only for one 5-year period. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That does not treat to the next 5-year period. So she has to settle that first. It has to come out the industrial court, go back in front of the CPO, negotiate for that, then go back negotiate for the next 5 years, and then go back and next 5 years. She don't have the skill to do that. So now I tell all the public officers, all they get punked. Instead, all they encourage PSA to take the 4%, and take the 5% offer for the period 2020, 21, 22. And it would have been a commitment, just as the UNC, when they left in 2015, they made a commitment to pay public officers 14% and they ride out. And when this government came in, despite it had a recession, they honored the payment. Only could have done that. So the UNC could have talked about how they in have money, the country in have money, whatever. They would have to find the money to pay because it would have been an agreement signed off by the People's National Movement. But no. Or they get caught up with she and she should. Because no government, no sensible government would ever start negotiations at 10%. Because then when you do that, what you're going to do for the next negotiating period? You can't go lower, you have to keep going higher. That can be maintained, especially as I tell only the way we negotiate for our terms and conditions of employment and salaries. The public service is based on the retail price index methodology, meaning how much inflation eats up the public officer's salary for the month for the year and over 3 years. So every year there's a percentage of how much inflation eats up your salary. And based on that collective 3-year percentage, that is what you go to say you want this and want that and all that. We don't have no living wage here because of the fact and no market value and all that, because the public service has not done a comprehensive job evaluation of the public service to bring us to where people like teachers and they are. You see what they get punked? You see what they get punked? So we sit on 2013 salaries even to this day. While other people, despite they say some didn't get on time all that, they would have gotten the 4% money and they're getting the next one for 5%. And now they have, when negotiations start, they have the new negotiating period, 23, 24, 25. Where PSA stuck at 14, 15, 16. And with that girl, we goes nowhere. But all she was contending with was WASA. Because they love the UNC and they believe in the UNC. But public officers ain't going to say nothing, because when UNC in office, all your mouth does get tired. All they don't care to is only paying them all their mouth for. So, public officers, all they get punked. I didn't, but unfortunately, I tie up and all the trippiness. So, let me continue. There's important why I needed to explain that properly, so that you will understand. Labour Minister talking about fork tongue again. Labour Minister Leroy Batiste, he must have loved that. When he hear call his name, so he must say, look at she. Look at she. That vile woman. She has to call me minister. What she face here? He feels looking like when the cat drag in. And when there's bottle God, where come that for and kick it out. So this is what he had to say here, the minister. Labour Minister vows to rebuild tripartite framework. This was 21 hours ago. Minister of Labour, Small and Micro Enterprises, Enterprise Development, Senator Leroy Batiste has pledged to rebuild the tripartite framework he once famously walked away from as a union leader. He made a comment yesterday morning while delivering his first major policy address at the 113th session of the International Labour Conference in Geneva, Switzerland. Oh God, my boy flying me like himself. I want them to know the piece of trash they have in front of them talking. I hope they do the homework and understand who it is in front of them and don't pay no mind at all. Just smile and say, The enforcement carries particular weight given Batiste's history as a former president of the Public Service Association, where he led a dramatic withdrawal from the government tripartite committee alongside other labor leaders in protest of what they call insufficient union input. Batiste was then known for his fierce criticism of government's labor policy. Now speaking from the other side of the table, fork tongue, Batiste pledged to re-establish and revitalize the national tripartite body to improve our dialogue with labor leaders or labor bodies. The driver of economic growth and social well-being and national development must emanate from the collaborative efforts of government, workers, employers, and other social partners, Batiste told international delegates. Democracy is alive and well when people are engaged in a process in which they have a voice. And we in the PSA never had a voice under you, especially under you. That's why I tell you, I hope they do the homework and know the piece of trash that's stood in front of them talking. Beyond rebuilding tripartite relations, Batiste outlined an extensive policy agenda that included modernization of the Industrial Relations Act and other labor legislation, facilitation of unions' recognition in state entities through tripartite frameworks, and support from the International Labour Organization, the ILO, and a commitment to tripartite policy making as a tool to strengthen democratic governance and protect human rights in the workplace. Me I read it no more. Let me read this for you. I want to tell you the way I fork tongue. Let me read this for you. This was 2023 Daily Express, the rise and fall of tripartism in TNT. Had Labour representatives not unceremoniously turned their backs on the National Tripartite Advisory Council, NTAC, 2 years ago, yesterday would have marked 7 years since the inauguration by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley in fulfillment of the PNM JTOM Memorandum of Agreement dated August 27, 2015. The vision was a mechanism whereby the national principal social dialogue partners, government, business, and labor would jointly deliberate and arrive at consensus on national socio-economic development policies, programs, and issues, and render advice thereon to cabinet. NTAC and T&T is long-standing institution of its nature. The only two have successfully, just read it again. NTAC was T&T's longest standing institution of its nature, and the only to have successfully gotten off the ground, be functional, and to have established a proven record of achievements. Multiple appeals by government, business, civic organizations, the media, and numerous citizens for Labour to return to the fold were futile. Bringing together Labour leaders of these sectors, traditionally in confrontation with one another, is no Tea Party. Its call for patience, tolerance, objectivity, maturity, high trust, grit, and commitment. Parties are required to step out of their comfort zones and focus on the common good, a tall order by any standard. Quite often, loyalties can become blurred. Only the strong survive. 2 years following Labour resignation on March 11, 2021, the question arises, what benefits, if any, have occurred to the citizenry and or the national workplace? Globally, Labour unions' membership have been declining steadily and their influence waning. For example, US figures show 11.3% membership down to 0.3% from 2022. So who speaks on behalf of the unrepresented 88.7%? Trinidad and Tobago Labour movement, fragmented as it is, generally projects itself as speaking on behalf of all workers except under special circumstances. By consciously turning their backs on the tripartite initiative, they have astonishingly rejected unprecedented involvement at the highest levels of government policy decision-making. The cabinet, implicitly betraying the trust of the national workforce and all who ascribe to virtues of participatory democratic governance. Labour withdrawal was a retrograde step, as the consequent cabinet has had to revert to taking decisions without the benefit of invaluable multi-sectoral advice, rendering either voluntary or upon request, for which purpose NTAC was specifically created. That any level-headed institution seamlessly integrated within the highest decision-making authority of a nation can so casually squander such a priceless privilege defines wisdom, logic, and understanding. Juxtaposed alongside societies where labor leaders fight for what are denied, similarly noteworthy recognition. Trinidad and Tobago labor leadership has gambled away the asset to their own detriment, neglectful of the public interest and the welfare of the nation's workforce. Rather than embrace the occasion for unification provided by tripartite platform, they have become more fractured. Some constituents have veered in independent directions. They have ostracized themselves, diluted their influence, and imperiled their relevance. By now, they should have regretted the error of their ways and acknowledged the monumental disservice visited upon the nation. I'm nearly finished. It's important because I tell you about folk tongue. And I wish all you could hear that is not focused in pork tongue. Either, rather than embrace the occasion of right, Labour desertion of NTAC on 2 occasions in no way invalidates the infinite virtues of tripartism. It was the post-World War I, 1914 to 1918, inhumane conditions that steered the ILO towards the concept of tripartism as the ideal the democratic mechanism to oversee the mobilization of relief to a devastated and impoverished world. Now adopted worldwide, tripartism remains impregnable. What is lacking in TNT is commitment. Had Labour kept faith in the vision, there is no telling how much further advance would have been NTAC's strategy to enhance the overall levels of productivity and work ethics in TNT. Delegated to the Ministry of Planning and Development for implementation since July 2020, coordination of implementation of the post-COVID-19 roadmap to recovery report, amendments to the industrial relations, the retrenchment and severance benefits and the workman compensation acts, and not the least, recommendations for resolving the complex public sector negotiations which would have averted industrial unrest, industrial court intervention, and further cracks within the labor movement. Revival of the status quo is PNM Rowley's call. Only he can reassure the nation how absolutely how absolutely committed to tripartism his administration was when NTAC was officially launched by him, with justifiable fanfare and lofty expectation in March 2016. Submissions are on record to broaden the base of NTAC workers' representation by including well-established, eminently qualified civil society organizations as members, on the promise that they manifest alignment with the legitimate goals and aspirations of the nation's diverse workplace. This will cater for the overwhelming number of unrepresented workers while leaving the door open for labor to return to the fold with genuine resolve. Even enough time has elapsed for the void to be filled and participatory democratic governance restored in its rightful space. Reconstituting the tripartite council is a way forward. The alternative is the risk of tripartism never again being taken seriously in TNT, regrettably destined for them the bell toys. And this was written by Roy Mitchell, a former special advisor and coordinator to the National Tripartite Advisory Council, that is NTA. That is why I asked, when Leroy Baptiste was in front, them in Switzerland talking, if they know the creature, the piece of filth in front of him, if he would have told them he was one who walked away from the table, and the same thing he want to know, so he's going to bring back here. That was telling the fuck tongue. Because it had an opportunity under Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley for that same tripartite council or advisory council, whatever, that everybody come together and forge a way forward in terms of the industrial relation, the workman compensation, all the different acts and bodies and all that, and then walk away. Labor walk away from the table. He was a part of that get up and walk away. So when he asked, he coming out to tell them that they're going to forge ahead with what? A set of blasted fork tongues. Again, I ask, I wonder if they do the homework up in Switzerland to see that he's a man can't be trusted for labor. Because when he was representing the workers, he didn't do a good job. Instead, he sat down there and had a good salary, eating the best everything. Workers get nothing. Now he's Minister of Labor, he's the employer now. He wants to fight for the rights of employees now and workers now. How are you doing that? When you're in the administration ain't going to have no conflict of interest. The unions have to fight for that now. Who is the union leader, PSA? That dance? I tell you, they get punked. or they get punked. So I'm saying that a group that is going up for the PNM internal election, they're looking to seek or will decide if they're going to take legal actions against the, I think it's the election advisory, whatever it is for the PNM, for situations with regards to the membership list and getting it in a timely manner and all that, so that they will know who are members, not members, they could go through it and all that, and things I've been talking about, but it was costing me. So we will see how that goes. We will see how that goes. And the election, as far as it is now, it is still for June the 22nd, I think it is. And I want to say this. Everybody talking about, oh, Dr. Raleigh had a slate, and Dr. Raleigh, yeah, he had a slate. But you know the difference between him and the current opposition leader and political leader now? He was not going up unopposed, it had people challenging him. So what was wrong if he had a slate? Because he had us to fight and campaign because there are other people challenging for the position of political leader. In this case, there is no challenger. Madam Penelope Beckers Robinson, she is the political leader. There's nobody has to vote for she is. So what is the need for her to have a slate? Because she don't need to campaign. So what message are you sending to PNM people? Because you're talking about one PNM. How could it be one PNM when you don't have to go up on a slate, you uncontested, you are the political leader, but you have a team and it's your team. So that is very discriminatory in my opinion. Because you're supposed to leave everybody alone, let them do the thing. If they want to form a team by themselves and another set form a team, and that is okay, but it will be the members alone amongst themselves and people would vote. But you put yourself in the middle of it and say your team and then saying it's one PNM. I don't understand it. And you see the cross messages, is that what us have problems? I'll give another example. I heard Mr. Marcel said today on his program at the function of, it was supposed to be a mix and mingle, and it was held in Dominic's Romaine constituency. I heard Mr. Marcel said that Mr. Romaine was, I said it my way, Mr. Romaine was carded to speak on the platform because his constituency they came in. It was at Angel Harps, Panyard, I think that's it, Angel Harps, yeah, Panyard. That is in his constituency. So he was carded to speak because his constituency, I hear he was even asked to help with in terms of whatever refreshments, all that, his constituency, where his executive or whatever did all that. However, when they went to have the mix and mingle, which turned into excuse me, a launch of the political leaders slate, Mr. Romaine, who is the member of parliament who won a seat in that constituency, that used to be Mrs. Lisa Murray and Julian, God rest her soul, they would have renamed it and rebounded and all that. I think I just never remember it. It used to be Malaba Mosika, now it's something. But that Panside or Panyard is in the constituency of Member of Parliament Dominic Romaine. When they had a function, they didn't acknowledge him. They didn't call him up on the stage. They paid no mention to him. The person who had all the leave and the say was MP Marvin Gonzalez, who is from the Aruka Lupino constituency. And I just want to say, I'm raising these things to say because that team, that one PNM team, continued to talk about bringing back the love and bringing back the PNM. But everything they seem to be doing seem to be dividing and dividing. I don't know if they don't understand that. I don't know if they don't understand that. So, The political leader, Mrs. Robinson, Beckers Robinson, would have said that she's not afraid of criticism. She had a challenge with people hiding behind, I guess, a paraphrasing, probably fake profiles or whatever the case may be. So there's a team called, there's somebody who's writing stuff on somebody or somebody's are writing stuff, Game Changers, I think that's the name, and they're writing a lot of stuff. When you read it, it's information, there's nothing I see that is a lie. I don't know if it's a lie, then they need to be taken legal actions or whatever. I haven't seen that happening, and they are speaking out, and they want them people to come out in the open. Why would people come out? I will tell you, people are Game Changers, don't come out in the open, and I'll tell anyone. I'm just a matter of thing. I heard the word on the ground is I a part of the ground, the Game Changers. I'm not a part. The only thing I'm a part of is Jennifer Frederick Facebook page and let me talk the thing. I'm not a part of no Game Changer and all that. Me does do my thing by myself. And if I was a part of it, me afraid to say I was a part. I'm not a part of no Game Changer and all them kind of thing. Let me talk the thing. And my page is there, Jennifer Frederick. Right? Why would they want to come out and say who they are? With the kind of victimization, for want of better word, and insults that are hurled at people who show themselves and have a conversation. Me, for instance, as I keep telling you all, I'm on a page where a lot of them PNN people is, probably the political leader, she's also there, and Senator Faris Alwari, I know everybody that's probably there, I don't know. And when I make comments about the political leader and opposition leader saying that she's weak, and that comes from everything and information I would have gotten, suggests that she's not a strong leader, they have a problem with me. They keep saying, and I think it's Stuart, I am not promoting my member of parliament, Stuart, because he's not in the race. So there's no way he can be political leader. That is a done deal. But I say, as a member of parliament, I support my member of parliament. That is my right. But if he was in the election thing for the opposition leader, I would have been there with him too all day, and I'm a member of parliament. So when I talk now, it has nothing to do with Stuart Richard Young, and who's saying that the things I say bringing a bad light on. How could me, one thing I say bring bad light on Stuart Richard Young? Me a lying? You might like my tone, you might like my delivery, but I'm not lying. So I'm saying, why would somebody come out to say, well, it's I writing that to the kind of treatment? Because I will tell you, as I was telling all on Monday about a particular individual, I ain't going to call that individual name again. Always, she's the one to me more like an attack dog than me, because she always attacking everything that I say. Again, but this time, she didn't tag what I put up, but she put a message. So, I was telling you all about the incident at the Coover School. So, I would have put question. Are these children, do they have PNM mothers, PNM fathers, and PNM grandmothers? Again, the woman take offense to what I put. And put up suggesting, and she gets support to it, and them say they want to build back love in the PNM. Asking the administrators basically to remove me from the chat. But they're saying, the opposition leader and political leader said, she's not afraid of criticism. That people are free to talk, because under Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, they're saying they couldn't talk. But it seems like it's only certain people could talk now under this new PNM. And as you talk, or just because you say you support somebody else who is not a part of them, you can't talk. So I don't know if I have to like everybody in the executive. I have to like everybody and support everybody. But at the end of the day, respect. Because I don't disrespect anybody. But on that particular chat, they love to disrespect and insult me. Because as I was telling her, I was asking questions about the membership list and all that. They was insulting me. They don't use obscene language, but they insult me. And when the attorney Fafai Dove Mosaisa or something, so gone now to seek legal thing with the list. You know what somebody put up? That's the same thing Jennifer was telling us. And somebody said, no, they was insulting her. So you understand how the thing goes? So once you don't support the political leader, and support mean in terms of, you may not like, it had plenty people, although Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley was the political leader, did not like his style, and they come out and they say so. But they were still part of PNM, and they voted, and whatever the case may be. But with them, you can't say you don't support the political leader. You have to say you support, and you have to bend at your foot, and you have to pay homage and all that. Otherwise, they come at you. Right? So, clinical therapist and traumatologist Dr. Hannah Benjamin says, it is quite unfortunate to hear school violence and bullying being politicized, especially at a time when the issue is at such a critical stage. We have people talking about whose children it might be, whether it's a PNM child, a UNC child, or whoever child, he said yesterday. He said all children belong to this country and should be protected regardless of the political affiliation of their parents or communities. Benjamin was responding to a comment made by former Education Minister Dr. Nayan Gasbidali on the government's no tolerance for school violence stance. Speaking during a People's National Movement meeting at the Angel Harp Panyard in Arima on Saturday, noting that the government planned to arrest and charge students involved in violence attacking schools, Gasbidali said during her tenure, the majority of the school violence occurred among students from PNM households. In an audio response yesterday, Benjamin said he was disappointed to hear the former minister's comment, especially since the school system had faced many challenges for many years. He said indiscipline was a major issue among the school population, and that was why it was important to understand how children were becoming so violent. We must begin to examine from a real sense why the fights are happening. So we need to be paying more attention to our homes, we need to be paying more attention to our communities, and we need to be paying more attention to our school system as a whole, he said. In response to the criticism, Gasbidali said she spoke from a place of information, not sensationalization or sensationalism. She said she was in a unique position to have information that others simply would not have. On this basis, I'm acutely aware that the PNM has an important role to play, as does the government and civil society organization in supporting parents. To this end, providing this type of support through the National Women's League is a crucial goal, Dusty said. You know what? I ain't going to read anymore, because instead of her saying that that might not have been the place to say that, whatever, she doubling down and talking even more shit now. Because she don't understand it throwing shade on her. Like she don't understand it showing that she was incompetent and complicit. Because if you knew as the Minister of Education that the children who fighting in school come from PNM households, what did you do? So now you're in opposition where you can't do nothing with 13 members on the opposition, PNM, and 20-something members on the UNC. A government that has a history of closing down youth camp, closing down this, closing down that. You ain't do nothing when you're the minister. That based on what you're now telling me. What you could do in opposition? You think Kamla Pasal, Sessa and them had you to study? And that is the problem this new look PNM having. They're not admitting they do nothing wrong. It's just the same way the goddess, the new goddess now is, so the UNC have Kamla Pasal Sessa, oh goddess, the PNM now have the political leader, Mrs. Penelope Beckers Robinson. None of them has admitted to today that they started off wrong. When before she was opposition leader, member of parliament for Arima would have called a meeting with 6 of the 13 members of parliament who won the seat and caucus for them, and they vote and make she the opposition leader. They're not saying they're wrong for doing that. They just wanted to continue, don't say nothing. So the 6 other members of parliament, they don't have people who vote for them. They don't have people who vote for them, and might I like if them member of parliament become the opposition leader. And in my situation, because this is the constituency I'm in, Port North St. Anne's West, my member of parliament, or somebody in Maloney to see Miss Camille Robinson Regis. But they don't want to take responsibility for that. But as you say something on this PNM social media chat, the education officer or the PNM right now, who was a senator, government senator, who man and spend money to send abroad to study. I don't know what she studied and come back with, I don't know. And who was a candidate for a Rima seat. She have a problem every time, and it's particularly when I say something. And there's a fellow from Tonapuna, the corporation, who, I don't know if he's another panty, always have to jump and support to whatever the person say. I don't know if it seems to me like all they're looking for position in the PNM, so all they want to say and say the right thing, talk the right thing, don't make no way so they could get position. I am not like that. I don't want no position, no hierarchy position in the PNM. So I don't have to make friends with this one and say the right things so that they will like me. I'm not of that. So the point I'm making is this. So they say they want things to be different, and they will be listening and talking to the people, but the people talking to them and they're not listening. So that is what they did to Dominic Romaine, a member of parliament, insulted and disrespected him in his own constituency. Like this is a trend. Because I remember before the political leader situation, the opposition leader in Port North St. Anne's West, there was a function for Centurion, and the member of parliament was invited to. The member of parliament is Stuart. When they went to the function, when they were walking in the function, the opposition leader, Mrs. Penelope Beckles, walk out. You as the opposition leader, you're in the member of parliament constituency. You was invited, what I don't know. And he's coming into the function. You ain't even stay to take a picture and say hello. You walk out and you're gone. There was a party group meeting, also in the constituency. And all they tell the member of parliament, Stuart, but he was there. And then all they want to start with respect. So why all they have no respect for the member of parliament of over Maloney something, all they have no Malabar something. All they have no respect was for Dominic Romaine. All they have no respect for Stuart Richard Young. But everybody must have respect for all them, and we must fall in line. That is the new PNM. I just asking a question, is that the new PNM? Only people who support Miss Penelope Beckles Robinson, only them alone get an opportunity to talk. And if you don't support her, you're being called that you're not conscious, that you're nasty, you're under the white line, you're an attack dog, you use a attack dog, your mouth big, you feel it back, all kind of things you're being told. And all they want people, whoever it is writing the game chain, whoever it is, come out and say who they are. I tell them don't come out. Keep writing and saying what they say. Don't come out and no. No. You see this PN and the road they're going down in, and this black party and the black conscious party and black this and black that. See how far that will go in a cosmopolitan space. All they're turning off people. All they're turning off people. It's not Jennifer Frederick turning off people. All they're turning off people. That crew that they now, if all they know how much all they're turning off people. Or they're going to be shocked, but like all they know their own bubble, or their own cocoon, so they don't care. So I have to ask myself, is it all they come to mash up PNM? Asking a question, is it all they come to mash up the People's National Movement? Coming from a place of hate and whatever, I'm asking a question because all they definitely ain't come to build or build back on the foundation. All they definitely not by all the actions. And all who support all here and want to cost people to for all here, check all this because all they alone can make PNM win a blasted election in this country. All you on that PNM social media chat, all you know the blasted family can make PNM win a next blasted election in this country. It take all of we. And when all they alienate people and all they stay with the few all they have talking black conscious and who black and who making video cussing this one, thing in this one. Let me see how far they're reaching with that. So let's go along. And the General Council, I don't know much about this General Council, but I know about the General Council and the PSA. And the General Council and the PSA have failed in its duties. And apparently this General Council, the PNM, has also failed. And I want to tell Mr. Baptiste Primus again, I do not like your politics. I respect you as a union leader. I always respect you for what you did in the PSA and the labor movement. As a woman, you broke the ceiling. In many ways. But you say politics, because you know how PSA operated when General Council ain't have a voice, or if they try to stifle the voice and take over and bully them and all that. You know about them things, because we had to suffer under it, under Watson Solomon Juke and under Liberties, and we used to tell you what we're going through. And he used to always say that ain't right, and all this thing and this whatever. So you know. And to stand today and not empower the General Council. Instead, you take all the bacchanal, all the whatever, and you bring it out on the road. We couldn't do that in PSA. If we had issues in General Council, we work it out there, whether it costs out there, wherever it is, right there, and you didn't dare come out after and talk about what's going on in General Council to the media. Because the only person to talk on behalf is the president. It only became how it became when Duke ended up not giving us a place again to come and have our thing. We had to go in the road. And the rabbit is the same thing, but under ideal conditions. It's the General Council. We used to trash out the issues. So you knew better. I need to remove. Excuse me, I didn't bring my water. You know better. And you should have done better. Now you're silent. So I'm saying again, whatever is on the end game, it is not in the interest of the People's National Movement. Ain't no way no black party could stand up in a cosmopolitan country. Or they could say what the hell all they want. Ain't no way. Or they could like it, ain't like it, that's a fact. You could have all the black excuse me, financiers given, it will not stand up. Because we are a cosmopolitan country. And the founder of this party never says a black party. He spoke about, so all they can never be calling Dr. Williams' name when all they talking anything paying them, all they tongue should twist up in all their mouth. Because he's the one who would have said, there's no mother China, no mother India, no mother Africa, no mother Syria, no mother Lebanon. One mother, Mother Trinidad and Tobago. And a mother don't discriminate against your children. And inside the PNM Constitution, it speaks about, not that you have to be black to make a contribution. It says, a paraphrasing here, anybody, once you have the ability, you have the experience, the knowledge, whatever, you could. That is anybody. So what are they bringing this party to and feel all on top? I understand in the meetings that you have plenty of people. This what I want to feed people as if all they being successful and all they meeting the people and hyping the scene, all they stop telling people lies. People are gravitating to all the people are staying away, and more people staying away. So all they prefer to have a party and no people. What are they doing that for? for the love of power. Well, all they will get the power and nothing there. And then what? All they would have disadvantaged the citizens in this country, and the tears will fall on all you. Because what all they would have done, put us in a position where we train and we train to come, will end up in a situation where they're paying back for all the wrongs that UNC will be doing to this country. When the IMF come in and this coming, all that will be on all their shoulders. All their shoulders, those things will be upon. If only don't get it together and do the right thing, but only start off doing the wrong thing and only don't want to admit it and don't want nobody to tell all about it. Because all is the boss. And all they don't care. All they saying that people ain't care, it's all they don't care about the PNM. Not the PNM, all they don't care about the members of the PNM. Especially small members who are like they call grassroots. All they don't care. It might have a few all their favor and throw a little dust too, and then run all there. And surround all there. And fighting on other people who asking a question and who honestly just want to see the PNM do better. Right? Everybody know that Miss Penelope Beckers Robinson, all who making video, they know that she able. But for whatever reason, people willing to go along. Why in 2025 we must do the same thing that only accused Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley of? Only accused Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley of being a tyrant, a thing, a dictator, and this, all kind of thing all they say about the man. And all they doing the same thing that all they say he was doing. Look, I watched the video again, I tell you, where they were giving him tribute. Like just this year, you know, all of them. And when you look at them, if you were to take out Ms. Shamfa Kojo, Renuka, Ms. Camille Robinson Regis, Stuart Young, I think the man from up Labrador side is so Allison West, Hislop, and a couple others. If you look at the rest who remain, praising Dr. Rowley for leadership, and passion, and all that. That means the same people today, just a couple of months ago, who was praising, and the same people today who had nothing good to say about Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. So when we see all these things that we put in the context, that means the same people stood up with MP Young pledging support. Because they had the opportunity in Tobago, because here was a vote. And who had mouth and who tell who to go and go now, and all kind of thing happened. But there was a vote. 9 against and whoever for, there was a vote. Despite what? All they pledged support. There was a general council meeting. All they were told to stand up. And all they was asked, I was told, I don't know how true. Did I force you all to think? Did I whatever? If I did that, remain standing. Everybody sit down. No, if Dr. Rowley did force me to vote for Stuart Young, and he asked that in front of the whole general council, he's standing up. He can't do me nothing. He can't cut me ass. I'm standing up. But all they sit down. So all they make Stuart Young is a colleague of all their own. Believe that he had all the support. And I'm saying, in my opinion, because of jealousy, in my opinion, and bad man and all that, all they fight down the man. All they fight down the man for. When he did win, all they would have win. When he did win, all they would have win. All of them be ministers today. Because PNM would have win. All they would have been ministers in ministries today. Instead of that, all they fight down, and then all they say now, one team. One team with only black people, right? And they just put a sprinkling, just so we just say about the UNC, like people go start to say about the PNM just now. I never thought I'd come to talk about racism in the PNM. Yeah, I'm saying that again. I never thought I would have come to talk about racism in the PNM. So just like the UNC, or they have 2 token people who are not of African descent, and everything is African. Just like the UNC, or let's say, UNC does just put some token Africans, and so is it the PNM, this PNM now mirroring the UNC? I'm asking a question. So all they make all the videos and continue to cuss me, I continue to speak in truth and honesty. Or they'll continue to ask people, the admins, to put me off the chat, or they continue doing that. Every time I put up and ask a question, tell me what I can't get over. And you see, all who drink, I don't drink nobody bush medicine. You see, all on that chat, we're drinking people bush medicine because who friend and who friend. From the truth, or they will turn around, just like how they put up, where Jennifer was telling me that, and the next person said, well, was insulting. She, well, they got more that what I had to say, because it's the truth me talking, and a question I asking. So they continue. Or they big, they talk about me, I feel like big and bad. Me a big and bad, darling. You know who big and bad? The Most High Jah, who I just pray to Almighty God. He big and bad. Mama Earth, big and bad. My ancestors who gone, the ones who gone, that was big and bad. Me no big and bad, I a small pappy in this thing. So I say all this to say. All they continue with that way, all they go in and fooling people like all they getting real crowd and real crowd and crowd when it's not true. Continue to push this black agenda. Continue to bad talk Dr. Rowley. And I want to say this before I go. They keep, in my opinion, they want to say PNM lost the election because Dr. Rowley put Stuart Young and they called the election early. Let me tell you how that is a failed theory. I want a better word. The PNM knew in 2025 there was going to be a constitutionally due elections. All of them knew that. And there has been always a saying, the Prime Minister holding the election date in the back pocket, he could call anytime. He don't have to call September. He could call anytime. That is the prerogative of the Prime Minister, and based on the Constitution, he could call anytime. So if in 2024, from 2023, or no election come in 2025, or they didn't put mechanism in place, in the event when 25 come, it called before the normal time. So it's not nothing to do with Dr. Rowley and Stuart Young, which caused the PNM to lose. It has to do with the machinery the PNM all they didn't have in place. Because if the machinery was in place and all they had support Dr. Rowley's decision, because during COVID-19, all they was supporting Dr. Rowley's position because all they wanted to live, all they wanted the Rowley family to live, or the family to live, or the parents to live, this one to live. So they was following all the direct, all they trust him in that situation. But he made a decision with Stuart Young and all they didn't trust him in that. And then want to put the blame and losing the election on Stuart Young and Dr. Rowley. What about the people? It is alleged was going around telling people in communities don't vote for PNM and Stuart Young. That may have something to do with it. What about the fact that the machineries wasn't up in place properly to run a proper election? Them people and them is not to blame. What about all the ads and the this and the that wasn't done in a comprehensive way like how the UNC was doing it? UNC just simply had yellow is the code. That's all a tagline and a jingle. When UNC win, everybody, that's all the UNC had. Where was our tagline? Where was our jingle? Where was our, what PNM had? In 2015, we had, let's do this. Trinbago, are you ready now? Do this. We had a tagline, let's do this. And we was there with Sasha, let's do this. What all they had for 2025? You know, all they had hate, jealousy, envy. And this is where we are today. So don't blame simply Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and no Stuart Richard Young. And as I tell Rowley already, I can be very, very objective even though I like the person. Because to me it's about right and wrong. I will love you up, everything. You do shit, you're getting it from me. And I still love you. So blame all yourself also when all they train blame at Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and Stuart Richard Young. All they part, all they played in having the PNM today with 13 MPs going up in front a ridiculous UNC. Look, Dr. Martinell make a video today, Douglas Politics. Me even want to play that. If you hear the things he say, what are we to expect in Parliament? If you hear the kind of things that he say about PNM members who right there right now, if you hear the kind of things, that's all over. I'm not going to play that. I'm not going to share that. I'm not going to put that on Facebook. I'm not going to prolong that conversation. But if you hear things, and you say it have more to come and all kind of chocolate, that's all they put we in. That's all they put we in. People, Let me see who here. So Richard, Laurel, Avion, Lydia, Carlton, Winston, Joanne, Carol, Diane, Andrew, Elizabeth, Sarah, Marjorie, June, Lucy, Bernadine, Bansi, Lily, Raymond, Dr. Lloyd, Straker, Maharani, Dorothy, Iris, Judy, Michelle, Jackie, Nicole, Valerie, Lucy, Cynthia, Tessa, Nicolette, Dawn, Margaret, Cheryl, Florence, Nori, Britton, Gloricio, Papa, Anne-Marie, Gloria, Colleen, Patricia, Indra, Blackpool, Taurus, and all long means see you, girl. Long time I ain't see you. Long time I ain't see you. Give me. Okay, I can't say. Gail, Christine, Roxanne, Elsie, Claire, Herbert, Jack, Lorna, Christopher. I thought it was Christopher Coffee, you know what? Christopher, no matter what. Sharon, my old friend from Pune. John, Leno, Ashford, Legaton, you know, long me. Oh God, I vex, I see your name. I should have skipped over your name. You're such an irritant, but you know what? It's a love story, right, darling? Keola, Philomena. Oh, Bonifacio. I say in this one, Bonifacio, Shannon and Singh. Hey. Juliet, Darren, Kathleen, Junette. Bunty, you make sure your name up on it, right? Lorna, Ortega, Manette. Hey, hear this name. Used to be on, I don't know if it's Batiste. I don't know if it's Spanish, I don't know if it's French, but it ain't looking English. I don't know Batiste. Angela, Erwin, Sinclair, Louis, Valerie, Jennifer, Mary, my whole friend. I ain't going to tell all the from way. Sandra, hi darling. Joan, Scholar, Fraser, Denon, Papa. Kenrick, Anna, Catherine. Hey, your next one. Anastasio Valquez. Oh, let's comment all this Spanish and the thing. I know Spanish is really first people. I'm from Garifuna people, but hey, drop it on me, man. Wendy, Donna, Estella, Medina, they come out of the boy first people's out. Leonilla, Salvador, no. All the plan this thing. Leonilla, Salvador, Celine, Raghunandan, Yvette, Star Sanchez, Hazel, what is this? Rennie, Oscar, Prescott, E.A. Shorty, Joyce, Hadara, Maria, Fagaro, Leonard, Anton, Emmeline, Hensley, James, Felicia Monroe, Valerie Grayson, and Tintin Pan. Joycelyn, Rena, Kenrick, Gloria. I want to tell all I love you all. Hope you all enjoy the show today. And again, the PNM is sending, this PNM is sending mixed signals. You can't say you want people to talk and you want people to talk now because it was stifled before and it's one team. It can't be one team. Like segregation because nobody have to vote for you. It's already political leaders, so you have no right having no team. Let people do what they do and people vote, and then when they think they win, you will lead that executive. But you have a team, so you pull yourself aside with you saying as a political leader, this is my people. You see them others? So Fasai, Dove, Fasas, what is it? Oh Jesus, forgive me, sir. Mosai Sai, you're telling Dominic, you're telling that whole crew who independent and they're just thinking for the post. You're basically telling them we don't have no place for you. Look, my people here, always not my people. That way it reach? That way it reach? That way it reach? People's National Movement reach out my people and look about all them. Well, all they continue. We don't have a problem with Mrs. Beckles. It's the slave. The slave. Val, I don't know why I needed to mention that she's already the opposition leader. So she had no need to have no slate and say she won. She's already the opposition leader. Her post is on. She should have stayed out. Let the other people, whatever, she should have stayed out. So the problem is not Howard. No, let me rephrase that. Yes, the problem is her. Because she had no right to have no slate. Especially when she uncontested. And with me, the problem I have with her, I would like to know what she has, what she has done, whatever that gives me the... It's like you're going to do surgery with a doctor or something. You want to know the doctor specialized in the area, he know he do not, you are going nowhere. You're not going. You're going to say, not me. I want the doctor who specialized in me. What you could do? Me? When I pass a medical thing? Last month? Who operation you do? None? And me? Not me. Where is the specialist? You're going to say that. Unless somebody could vouch for this person and say, listen, he has done 12 surgeries, successful, whatever, you will say, okay, he young, you know, but all right then. You have to have some history and not tell me I'm talking stupidness. So that is my problem with the opposition leader. Nobody can make me say what I don't want to say. That is my problem with her. I don't know how to have no track record or nothing. If somebody could tell me, I'll feel more comfortable. But I will be watching the debate on Friday, and I will see from that, and I'll keep watching the debates. I'm not into the parliament thing, but I will do that to see for myself, so I will feel comfortable to say, yes, the woman have it, boy. And I don't have a problem coming back and say, watch me now. The woman have the thing, boy. I don't have a problem doing that. But I know, see nothing ever, so I'm telling you straight up. I don't have no confidence. And then the things that she would have done, it make me less confident, or they can vex with me for that. And then people posting up things all over our PNM. And this is a PNM social media chat. And I put it there for all to see, because some of them I can see. Why are they taking it so negative? If all they know, or they have it in the bag, or they win is the right thing, why are they afraid of criticism? Is me all afraid to talk? As they told me, I have how much people in my life? 60-something people. People that's whole life and have 500,000 people. I am not one of those persons. How all that doesn't vex with them when they keep their life and talk the thing? It's me only talking, thinking about. I don't want to post in PNM, no. The way I see all the operation, I don't want nothing to do with all the, basically. Honest to God. Me, I prefer to stay on the outside and just talk. Me, inside it, That, me want no part in that, Papa. I will vote for People's National Movement, I will do that. But me, but why see going on there? I want no part. Me then, no, it was so. And I on the outside just looking, all they not engendering no confidence in nobody. None. So, Rosalind, Kathleen House, none. We'll come together, we will build better. You cannot build on hypocrisy and lies, Miss Kathleen Alf. Or let us start there, man. You can't build on hypocrisy, and you can't build on lies. You can't build on only one side, want to take everything, and them alone can talk, you can't talk. You can't build nothing there. That ain't helping. Let us all be able to talk, whether or not it's hurtful, whether or not you feel, let people talk. So, Miss Kathleen, I ain't comfortable with what you tell me there. We'll come together with what? Just say, well, let me forget about that. That don't help, because all they say on that Dr. King Christopher Rowley, all they couldn't talk, and all they just had to go along because he bullied all you. All they say so. So don't tell me now, we should stay quiet and just go along because we're going to go look bad to people. I'm not a part of that. That's why I tell all they, I'm not no inside, no PNM, nothing. All they don't have to follow me, all they don't have to agree with me. Me not a part of that, Papa. If all they like it to live in lie, just to go along, so don't say nothing. Is that don't say nothing? How the PNM and the problem it is today? Because everybody, because they don't want to lose this, they don't want to lose that, they want to lose this, they don't want to lose that, and they want to be friend with this one, because if you're not friend with this one, you ain't go get this and you go get that. Who don't like what I'm saying? I can't do nothing about that. I tell you, if my words are a mirror, and when you look at my words, it's showing a reflection of yourself, and you're getting horrors with it, then you have to check yourself. Right? Love you all. See you all on Friday. And God's Spirit when I come with something fresh, something new. This is Little Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to come, if you want to get formal, it's Miss Jennifer Frederick, another edition of we talk, D Ting, and go and love all the back. With the tractors and all. Because I love things. But I will talk my mind, because doing the right thing is the right thing to do. You don't compromise what is right, you know. You mightn't want to do it because it may make you uncomfortable, but you don't ever compromise your integrity or your values. You see, your values, anytime you compromise your values, you will be like a kite that IO, the string cut and just all over the place. You see, values, if you don't have values, you have nothing. And if you're willing to compromise your values, then you are a person who they could be swayed by any and everything. If that's what all you want in the PNM. Hi, Helen Ross from Pleasantville. And he would believe them to me. And it worked right. If that is what they want in the PNM, that is a new PNM, or they have all the new PNM. When it's time to vote in 2030, just spare our lives. Whatever is left, I still will not vote UNC and whatever it is, I'll give my vote to PNM because of this. But if that's all they want, to stay in this position or position, or you're on the right track. Yeah? Or you're on the right track. Love you all, see you all on Wednesday. Friday, God spare. Hi, Didi boss. I go on, love all you.